Thank you.
Yeah, I'm reminded that we do this pretty well. All right, welcome back into the Rowdy studio where we're talking Big Three and
Big Three NASCAR issues.
Right, and you know we have been reluctant to do this because everybody does this, but I think
not the way we do.
The time has
not the way we do.
To talk about your three most likely champions of the 2012 NASCAR Sprint Cup.
Can I go first?
Why, yes, Bass. Thank you for raising.
Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson.
Well,
he's obviously going to be motivated. He's, you know, regression to the mean for Jimmy Johnson means winning the championship. I mean, Jimmy Johnson. Well, you're not going to put him on your list?
Oh, he's on my list.
Jimmy Johnson.
I'm just going to not take the easy way out when I make my pick. That's all.
Are you going to pick Carl Edwards?
No. I said I'm not going to take the easy way out, Jimmy Johnson.
Oh, okay. Marcus Ambrose?
Look, you can't argue with Jimmy Johnson and
Aren't
Jack
we supposed
Knaus.
to pick the most likely championship
Right, and
contenders?
now he did only have 2 wins last season and didn't really make a lot of noise during the chase, but you're saying that's an anomaly, and that's hard to argue with. How can you argue against Jimmy Johnson and Chad Knaus?
You can't. He's got to be in there. He's got to be in your top 3. He has to be in your top 3.
Can I go now?
Please.
Where I've put a little bit more thought, a little bit more creativity into my pick.
We'll see.
I'm going to go, and this is going to surprise you, I think. I'm going to go with Kyle Busch.
No, I would put him in my top 3.
And here's why. Kyle Busch had more wins than anybody with the exception of Tony Stewart and Kevin Harvick last season.
And he won the Bud Shootout, so that's a predictor for the season.
They both had, he and Harvick both had 4 wins. Now, what's the knock on Kyle Busch? He always disappears come the playoffs, right? But this year...
No, there are more knocks than that.
The competitive knock, right? This year he's greatly reducing his nationwide schedule. He's not running trucks.
I think that's a really good thing for him.
He and the coach have sort of hatched a plan. We're not privy to the plan, but they've hatched a plan about how Kyle can move forward. You think with everything that went down last season, he's going to be towing the line. Now, this will be the new Kyle Busch, of course. But
which means it's better than ever.
But I think Kyle Busch could put together a championship-winning run this season if he can hold it together for those playoffs.
You know, you'd like to think that an incident like the one that happened at Texas last year could be a catalyst for change. Of course, as you say, we've had other catalysts for change, and the change maybe wasn't great enough to bring Kyle a championship. But he's got championship-level talent. I mean, we saw it the last time. We saw it in the Bud Shootout. We saw it. So I like Kyle Busch in my top 3, and I'm going to put Carl Edwards in there too.
Let me just say one more thing about Kyle Busch, because you have to think that the new TRD engine effort is going to help Joe Gibbs Racing with some of their durability issues.
Well, that's true. And normally I don't like to read too much into engine power because I think it's really, in many ways, secondary in today's Cup Series. Not totally secondary, but I obviously think handling is the big thing. Aerodynamics and handling are the big things in the Cup Series. But durability was, as you say, a major issue for them last year. Not just failing in the race either. When you fail in qualifying, you have to start in the back. That is a handicap. That takes away points from you, and over time, that can be a real drain. So I agree with you. I think that's all good. I think Kyle's in the best position he's been in his entire career to succeed with Dave Rogers, another year with Dave Rogers. He's been chastised. He'll be on his best behavior. Some maturity has to come with those mistakes, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
You would think.
Well, because
I like Kyle
because
Busch.
M&M Mars isn't going to give him another pass.
No. They're really
and he
not.
knows that.
I like Kyle Busch. I love his talent, obviously. I would put him in my top 3 as well.
All right. Now, you were saying Carl Edwards.
Don't you have to say Carl Edwards? I know it's the chic pick.
No.
I know it's the obvious pick. But Carl Edwards is going to be on a mission. He's gone through the cycle a couple of times. He's in a very good spot with Bob Osborne. I like the Roush equipment. You got to feel good about Carl Edwards.
And I don't believe that Carl Edwards is going to have a Denny Hamlin-style meltdown after coming so close. You know, Denny Hamlin had that meltdown after he came so close to the championship.
Don't call it a Denny Hamlin meltdown. Call it Carl Edwards after 2008.
Okay.
I mean,
fair enough.
And I don't let's say put that on the team. That may have, or on Carl. That may have been the team.
I don't think Carl in 2012 is going to have that. He seems like he has such perspective and he's got such a healthy attitude about what went down, and he redefined loser. I mean, we kept saying
in a good way.
We kept saying at the end of last season, wow, he has lost with more class.
You can't recall anything classier than the way Carl Edwards handled defeat, especially when you consider he was tied in points and lost on the tiebreaker.
So I think Carl Edwards is a good pick. I think Carl Edwards is more likely to win the championship than Tony Stewart is to repeat.
I agree, and you'll notice Tony not in our top 3, which is probably not fair to him. It's probably underestimating his talent. But if you look at the sort of the magical run he had at the end of last year and how in capturing lightning in a bottle, it still wasn't enough to retain Darian Grum, whom he'd already fired.
Right.
So there's enough changing for Tony and enough question marks that you probably put him in your top 5, but maybe not in your top 3.
All right, that's our top 3 guys to watch for the championship hunt in 2012. Thanks for watching the Rowdy Big 3.
Rowdy.com. Say it like it is.
Say what like it is?
Rowdy.com.